Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira, the CEO and founder of Kismet Ventures. I am the niche navigator. With me today is John Fraser from Nova Scotia, Canada. Hi, John.
Yay! Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. I am doing these interviews because I want to expose and promote people and find out what value they're adding in other people's lives. So, John, thank you so much for your presence here. I am humbled and honored. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Great. A little bit about myself. That's like, how long do we got? We got hours. This is like a 5-hour interview. I might be able to get it all out. I was thinking about, I was thinking about that question, like, tell me who I am. And it reminded me of, I went to a training many years ago called Enlightenment Intensive. And what that was, it was a 4-day retreat where it was silent meditation, except for 4 hours in the afternoon where you did a dyad with somebody and all they did was ask you who you are. And you would talk and talk and talk until you ran out of things, and then you would ask them who they are. And it went on for 4 days. And it was kind of crazy. So I was thinking about that experience, and after I left that, who I realized I was, and I had this epiphany there. I was starting on day 4, we were all starting to go a little crazy. Maybe that was part of it, but I was like running out of things to talk about of who I am. I'm a son, I'm a AV tech, I'm a parent, all the things that you can be. And then I looked outside and I saw a swing set. And I was like, you know what? All I want to do, and I said to my partner, you know who I am right now? I'm a 6-year-old boy, and all I want to do is go out and swing on those swings. Like I just don't want people to tell me I have to sit in this seat. I want that energy of a 6-year-old boy, and it kind of reminded me of just what a lot of people teach in workshops and stuff is like the playful energy, or if we could just play again like we did with kids, if we just treated our friends like we did when we were kids, what an amazing world this would be.
So I have a question right there. I'm going to interrupt you. Did you go play on the swing?
I did during the break. But something funny happened before that. We went down to lunch right after that segment, and lunches and dinners were completely silent. We weren't allowed to talk. And me and this guy we were standing beside each other in the lamp. We were looking at each other, and we were kind of getting that when you're a really little kid and you're in line going to the lunchroom or whatever, and you get that giggleness with another person. Him and I just started, like, we couldn't stop, but you weren't allowed to talk. So we were like this, we could feel this pressure cooker of, and I remember we were having vegetarian chili and cornbread, and both of us, without saying it, we sat across, we ate our chili with our hands. And we made a mess, and at one point, one of the instructors came over and went, "Oh, you're making a mess. Here, let me get you a clean bowl and a spoon." And we were like, "No, we want to do this. It wasn't an accident." It was like, and then we went to a break, and I went on and swung on the swing. So it was like, that's who I felt like I was, at least in that moment, was like a 6-year-old boy. But then I realized that being a 6-year-old boy isn't a very good strategy for growing a business or making any money, because you can't be that all the time. 6-year-olds don't really get paying rent, all the bills are due. But what I did was I at that time I was helping people put on workshops and seminars by being an AV tech. So I ran the back room, made sure your microphones worked, your music was queued up, your room was set up. But after that experience, what I realized was that I wanted to do it specifically for people that were making powerful changes with other people in the room. Like, not just, I've done my share of conventions with bankers and lawyers, and they do their bit to make the world a better place. But I wanted to work with people that were doing like radical things. Like they were doing like past life regressions, or they were doing fire walking, or they were doing sweat lodges, and they were doing things, or even just doing things where you're helping people get over past issues, like resetting your mind's blueprint kind of stuff. And I really just wanted to fill the niche of specifically working for those kinds of people, because I felt like they could make the most radical change to make the world a better place. And if I could do what I do well with them, and that could help them grow their business or get their message out there or get in front of a bigger audience, then I've done a huge thing to help this impact the world in a positive way. So that's why I got into what I do now, which is the coaching piece of teaching people how to create what I call an optimal learning environment. So your event room isn't just a ballroom, but it's set up in a way that helps people learn more, learn faster, retain more information. And then as I worked with more people in the personal development industry, I learned how they did the stuff from stage. What's that?
No, so go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So what I started to do was helping people coach right from the beginning of they have something they're passionate about, something they want to deliver to a live audience. And we start back in the beginning in the designing stages of how to put this thing on, like whether it's a 1 day or a 3-day event, or it's at a retreat, or it's at a convention center. How can you set your room up? How can you design your curriculum that your audience is completely engaged with you constantly, and they totally feel safe, comfortable, empowered by you from stage and in your event. And your event is so kick-ass that they want to do more events with you. They want to go to your next retreat or your next workshop or whatever, because they had such a blast and they learned so much at this one event that you just put on.
Sorry.
In a nutshell,
But
without having
awesome.
5 hours to say.
No, but that's awesome because.
Oh, number one thing when you put on a workshop that you tell your trainer tells your audience is that before we go any further, make sure you turn your phone off, because we want everyone to have the same impact in the event and we don't want any interruptions. So there's a little tip for you right now. When you do your workshop at the very beginning, ask your audience to turn their phones off or put it on vibrate. That's a freebie.
And I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Doctor's office are calling me like crazy, But I love this that you found your niche. So before you did all this, what did you do before that? And
before that, I worked at a music store that sold musical instruments. We did lessons and that sort of thing. We rented, and we also rented gear. And when I worked there, it was funny. That helped me get to where I am right now, just working in a music store, because I learned all about the gear and the stuff. But what happened was I got a phone call from a woman from San Diego, and she is a music therapist, and she was coming to a huge convention. I was living in Victoria, British Columbia at the time, other side of the country. And she needed to rent some gear, vibraphones, xylophones, tambourines, shakers. She wanted to rent all this gear, and she said, I'm really far away, but I have to have this gear, so I need you to guarantee you can get me. I'm like, that's awesome. So over 2 weeks we talked, and I asked, like, so what is this music therapy thing all about? Because I was I'd gone from being a musician into working at a music store, and never really thought of music as a healing art, as a something you could do to help change people's lives, as instead of just entertaining them or getting your own satisfaction from playing an instrument. And she went, oh, there's, it's music therapy is this, and it's using music to heal people, and it's a whole school, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So she gave me 2 free tickets to go see. I can't remember his name, but he's the guy who came up with the idea for the Mozart effect. And the Mozart effect is basically if children are introduced to music at a very young age, their capacity to understand music and all the benefits that music can give lasts their lifetime. So his whole thing is bringing music into schools at an early age, for children at an early age. I went and saw him speak, and it was so funny. He started off with, he came out, didn't say a word, and when we went in, we were given a binder with some information in it, and then we were given 2 paper plates. And there was like 800, 1,000 people in the audience in this auditorium. We go in, he comes out, doesn't say a word, sits in a chair that's right in the middle of the stage, and then he does this, and this Mozart classical music starts playing. And he starts just banging his paper plates along with the rhythm and doing a thing where he was rubbing them together, but he was doing this whole thing, and everyone in the audience went, oh, we can do this too. They all started doing it. And then he got up and he split the whole auditorium in half and got this side to play one thing and this side to play another. And he did all this technical music orchestration with 2 paper plates. And everyone in the audience was having the best time, thought it was hilarious, it was amazing. Then he went into his presentation, talked about the benefits of music, but how simple it is to create it. That was amazing. That blew my mind. So I decided to go into music therapy, quit my job, went back to school. And then I started taking some drum lessons on how to create drum circles. And so I started doing that, and I decided to, instead of going and becoming a music therapist, which was going to be 5 years of education, I just started putting on drum workshops at schools and for kids. And then I had to start doing the audio for that. And so then I just had to relearn everything. But the long story short of all of that was that I saw the power of putting on a really great event where, I suppose the story of dog barking outside. The power of putting on like a powerful event, but you can do it so simply. 2 paper plates change the lives of 1,000 people in that audience. So part of what I do is when I'm coaching people is that I go, well, have you tried this as a way of making that point you want to make? You know, have you tried this activity to kind of lock in the learning? Like something simple like writing down your feelings about something, or telling your story to a partner that's sitting across from you. Like those simple things create such a powerful, bless you, powerful, impactful event, and they're so simple to do. And I think what happens is when a person goes from perhaps a coach to becoming a professional speaker, where they get their 15 minutes or their 1 hour and cramming so much information into this one little bit, what inspired me to guide people into putting on workshops and seminars, like make it a full day or a 3-day, is that they can make such a huge impact in 3 days that if you were just simply going to be a coach and work on one-on-one, it may take you 6 months to get that person to that place. If you could do it in 3 days because you have them for 8 hours, 9 hours, 16 hours in a day, if you want to create a huge, like a full day, you can make a huge impact on them, and hundreds, thousands of people under one roof, and they all have that experience. Wouldn't that be a better model? Wouldn't that be a better model to get in front of people and share your message than instead of just doing a single coaching call with one person and then you have your next client call and you do your 90 minutes with them? Why not bring those 2 clients and a dozen other clients in one room over 3 days and give them the real experience where you can take them through, start the morning off with yoga or a guided meditation, and then give them some information, and then give them an activity that kind of, when I say locks in that information. So that's one of the models I teach in my coaching, is that you give them some information, then you give them an activity to lock in that information, and then you debrief what just happened and take any questions. Then you move on to your next piece and you do the exact same thing. You give them some content, some information, then you give them an activity to lock it in, and then you debrief it and take any questions. And that's how you create a multi-day event or a full day event. That's how you kind of can create some simple curriculum, is that it's just information, an activity, lock it in, you debrief it.
You know, that's awesome. But, you know, like I'm a John Maxwell certified coach. And when you go to John Maxwell's, that's one of the ones that I've gone to, you know, before you walk in, you know, there's a loud music, everybody's singing and everybody, it's making that momentum. Ellen does it too when she starts her show because she comes in dancing. So that's when people are engaged more, when there's music.
Mm-hmm.
Thought about it, because music always elevates the mood, right?
Definitely.
It depends on different music, and it elevates the mood.
Well, and it elevates it to wherever you want to take it. It doesn't just make it the mood like more exciting. You can bring people into a really deep place where they're dealing with a lot of deep emotional stuff with the right piece of music.
Yeah.
You know, the music, music can create any mood. Yeah.
And that's the whole idea, is when you have to bring the right kind of music and teach them so that like you said, it locks them in, because then they associate the learning with the music, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So are you a music therapist?
No, I'm not. I just what I am is I'm a music sponge. So I figured there's so many different ways to use music, and I figured, you know what, I'm gonna study my own, go online and study, read books, interview music therapists, and just take all their stuff and share that with the world. Share that with people that I coach or I speak in front of. So then, you know, in the long run, you don't have a big student loan at the end of it, and you can just get to the work. Like, I feel like if you spend too much time learning and just not doing it, then there's some lost time. So I'm a jump in with both feet kind of guy. So it's like, what do you want to learn? Okay, I can teach you that. Let's jump in and let's do it. I'm going to give you all the templates, the formulas, phone calls, everything you need to go and create that piece. Like, I have what I call the Never Fail Workshop playlist, and it's up over 200 songs now that I know work at every single event. Every single workshop, there's a song that you use to bring people in the door, and then you can play the next song, which may have a slower tempo, which starts to bring the mood down, which gets people more relaxed, gets them sitting down. So you get people pumped up as they walk in the door, and then you slowly ease them into having a seat. And then you bring stuff up, then you have someone introduce you to stage, and they say, so put your hands together. And one of the people I work with, she has her, the person introduces her, say, get on your feet and welcome to the stage, because you're already building that excitement and that energy, and you're making it seem like an event instead of like people show up in the morning, you're standing at the front of the room beside your projector, kind of figuring out your PowerPoint presentation. I can't talk to you right now. I'm having computer problems or whatever. Everything like part of what I do is with my Zen AV services is that I come in with my team and we do all that stuff for you. We set up your room. We make sure all your AV is working. Your PowerPoint is up and running, so that you can either spend that free time networking in your audience, or you can spend it in your green room or back in your hotel room, relaxing, going over your script, drinking tea, whatever you need to do as your pre-game warm up to doing the event. Someone introduced you to the stage, you have a song picked out that inspires you to go to the stage, but also inspires your audience to listen to the content. Like, you could have a song that's specifically for your audience and the content that you're offering. Like Journey, Don't Stop Believing is a phenomenal song, great workshop song. It's on the list. It's on the Never Fail Workshop playlist. Journey's Don't Stop Believing, because it has this slow intro, but it's this kind of a pounding piano, so it's got this tempo to it. People all know the song, and then you listen to the lyrics and the chorus is Don't Stop Believing, and it's like, wow, that's really inspiring, and you're coming up to stage. So you've been just playing a 3.5-minute song inspired your audience to listen to you further and to have an idea that you're the one to take them to where your whole program is made to lead them.
So do you travel everywhere?
I do. My passport is well stamped. I've been about 2-3 years ago, I went to Australia for an event. I've been to Bristol, England, all over the United States, all over Canada. So yeah, I travel. It's kind of like I travel wherever I'm needed. And I can come in and set up the event and do everything getting the event up and running, or work in a coaching capacity and get you everything set up, and I don't leave my office. I make all the phone calls for you, or I can just have a conversation with you and find out where you're going with your event, or where you want your event to go, and where you're getting stuck. And we just kind of like, oh, you need your logistics master, which your logistics master is kind of the production notes of your event. So, your day starts off with the door, in your logistics master document, there's a section where it says doors open, this song is playing. So your audio guy, your DJ knows, okay, have this song queued up as soon as the doors open, play that song, then play this song, play this song. Your event supervisor, who's running the whole back end of the event, has their production notes, like make sure there's staff at the doors greeting people as they come in, high-fiving them, whatever you need. And then as your event unfolds, everything is in this production notes. So having a logistics master is one of the most important documents you're ever going to write next to your script for your live event, because it's going to help your AV tech and your event coordinator, your event supervisor run the back end of your event so there's no surprises. So they know at the break, at a meal break or whatever, they have to get the hotel in to arrange the chairs and do a circle, because you're going to do what I call a fireside chat. So you're going to stand in the middle with your wireless mic on, and you're going to chat with your audience or take questions or whatever. So your staff, your event supervisor they know that at the break, nobody leaves, all the staff stays, and as soon as you get everyone out of the room, we have to get the chairs into a circle. So that there's no like people standing around going, what do I do next, or what's happening next? You go, it's all written in the production notes in the logistics method. So having those documents is important. So that's part of what I do too, is I help you create the foundational parts of your live event.
That's awesome. I didn't even think there was so much work that goes into planning an event, but now you just hit me with so much information.
There's so much, and so much can't be left to chance. Like, because the things are gonna happen. Like, you're gonna show up and they hadn't set your room up correctly, or your stage is too small, or it's too big. Like, there's all these things can possibly happen because you're dealing with other human beings in a venue that could be in another country, in another city, in another town next to you. So the only way to mitigate those is by planning as much as you can and getting that solid before you even show up in the city. Then you have a lot more freedom to deal and flexibility to deal with these issues as they come up, because hey, we're still following the logistics master. Hey, we're going to have to take a different ballroom, or, sometimes what happens, like, there's a bunch of questions you need to ask before you book your venue. And one of the ones that people often forget to ask is there anything else going on in the adjacent ballroom to mine? And I've worked so many events where the event starts in this room, and it's a talkie event. It's a personal development workshop, empowerment workshop, a lot of talkie. And in the next ballroom, they're doing a reception for a wedding, and they've got a band and a DJ, and their reception starts at 5:00, and you come back to your event room to do an evening segment, and there's a band playing in the next ballroom. So your audience can't hear anything. So those are some questions that you need to ask ahead of time. And it's a simple one, but it completely sabotage and ruin your event. And I think most often the whole purpose of putting on events is to get people to literally to purchase your program, product, or service. You bring them in the event, you give them some information, you change their lives, but you also want to work with them further, because this event is only going to solve so much. And then what else will they need help with? Because that's how you create a business out of this. You can't just have a one-off, I do one event, and then I have to get all new people to show up for the same event over and over again. So at the end of your event, you're offering your coaching program, you're offering a book, you're offering another workshop. That's the next lead. So if you screw this one up, you may not get a second chance to get that client back. They go, the whole night I couldn't hear anything, and the band was too loud. I couldn't hear any of their information. So we just said screw it. We got up and left.
Yeah.
And you missed the opportunity to change that person's life because of the simple thing of asking the hotel, who else is booked the next venue? Well, then I can't use your venue if there's going to be a wedding reception there. What else can you do for me? So I help people. I've got scripts of what to ask when you phone the hotel, what the hotel wants to know from you, and what you need to know from the hotel. So there's a bazillion little things, but it's going to make a person's life so much easier if they can just go through the script. Just, photocopy, put it in a binder every time you phone a venue. You go through the script. So that's what I do. I took basically all the years that I went as a participant to workshops and seminars and speaking gigs, and then got kind of interested in how they put it together. I started taking more notes about the logistics of the event than actually the content I was getting. And then started working for personal development companies like Peak Potentials and Lucrative Luminary, like companies that put on multi-events multi-times a year. And then I learned how they do their whole event process. Like, how do they book the room? How do they set their room up that they create that optimal learning environment? And I just went, wow, this is all a coaching program, and it's all information that will only improve your event. Like, and it's things that people don't think about. They think, well, I'll just show up with my PowerPoint presentation and my laptop, and whatever microphone I get, I'll get. Whatever happens, happens. We'll leave it up to the universe to dictate what's going to happen. I'm like, hey, the universe may dictate. You need to plan better.
Yes. Yes.
So that's what I do.
Yeah. So, I had no idea this is what you did, but, I had read something about you and I said, this is a good person to interview. And you're an awesome person to interview. This has been great. Yeah.
Yes.
The thing is, you brought in so much awareness. And the fact is that we all want to be, as coaches, we all want to be great. We all want to be on the stage one time. And you have the right points. So, maybe people watching this can share this and information. And, you've just triggered up points in the head where we think, oh my God, I never thought of this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's so many things.
And one thing about coach, like, I'm very pro of transitioning, or at least having two lives. If you're a coach, you have a coach, but you're also putting on live events. Or they could be retreats. It could be 15, 20 people in a retreat center.
Yes.
But to take people and have them with you for a full day where you can have that personal, that intimate connection with them, where they're sitting across from you, is incredibly powerful. So that's what I want to help people transition into, or at least explore the idea of putting on an event like that. But I also know a lot of coaches are like, well, I don't have enough information for doing a 3-day event, or my content, they have to sit and rudiment, or I could do a talk. And so what I talk to them about is like, well, why don't you create a multi-speaker coaching event? So you have a bunch of coaches who talk about health and wellness, but each one of them has a segment. One of them is a coach on your health, the health and wellness of your finances. One's the health wellness of your body. And you could create some kind of clever name, like the whole being boot camp or something. And every single coach is coaching a different aspect. And then the benefit to the coach of being there is that they can offer their coaching services at the end of their talk, or they could sell a book, or they could, whatever. They've got there needs to be it's called the triple win. So yes. What's in it for you, what's in it for me, and what's in it for our clients.
True.
So the win is that you can invite this coach to come to your event and sit in front of an audience that they didn't even have to get. The audience, you already arranged the whole thing. And now they're sitting in front of 200 people who are like, yeah, I do need your product. If you've designed your talk, your speech in a way that guides people to the understanding that, yes, they need your product. Like, a lot of people, I'm reading online a lot about people just talking about telling a good story.
Yes.
And I think that's an aspect of it. I was having a bit of a battle with a dude on Facebook about, is it better to have a good story, or is it better to have a story that's just told well? And I was thinking, you know what? It's better to have a good story, because you can learn to tell this great story in a better way. But if you have a crummy story, I think it's almost like a lie to take that crummy story and try to make it into something that it's not. So yeah. Another thing of who I am, what I'm all about, is that I want people to do this stuff authentically. Like, there's a lot of hype right now about creating a who you are. You're creating a fake model of yourself. And I'm like, if you put on a kick-ass event and you're completely honest with your audience, and you use systems to create intimacy with your audience, then you can basically tell them anything about yourself that is honest and true, and they're going to go, that person's a human being, just like me. If they're a human being and they've achieved this thing that I want to achieve, and I'm a human being, that means I can achieve that thing too. So I'm going to listen to you. Because you need to balance, when you're up in front of your audience, you need to balance two things, and it's your expertise, what you're really good at. Like, you know, you're good at navigating people into their niche market or their niche business.
Yes.
That's your expertise. But people want to know your humanity. They want to know that you were once just like them. You were struggling to find out what you wanted to do with your life. You were depressed, whatever happened, right? There was a place that you were before you learned to navigate your niche.
Oh, yeah. I was lost too.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, if she can do it, that means I can do it. Teach me how you did it. And you're like, okay, I can. That's my workshop. I teach people how to navigate their niche market or their niche business. And then you've got yourself a live event, and then you use systems to book the room, get people in the event room, set the room up, get the right gear, and create a team of people that are going to do all that work for you. So then you just, what I call, show up and shine. You show up, you just network with your audience, you chit chat with people during all the breaks, whatever you need to do, and knowing that your event is all set up and it's running and you don't have to do with it. All you need to do the whole time is create an intimate connection with your audience. And then they're like, what else do you got? You know, I don't want just 3 days with you. I want, what else you got? Oh, you have a coaching program? Oh, you've written a book? You know, and then people are like, then you become more of a life raft than just like a piece of wood. Like, yeah, you're going to help these people over possibly a lifetime, you know, through whatever you do. It could be even something simple like your Facebook group, you know, so come to my Facebook group. I'm offering information all the time. You know, that's what I do on my Facebook groups. What to Know Before the Show is on Facebook. And all I do is I just give you content. It's like, hey, you want to learn how to EQ a microphone, or you want to know how to set up your projector really, really quick, or you want to know how to create a logistics master or get some music together, go to my Facebook page. Just take it. There's some stuff that I'm like, just take it. And there's some stuff that I think I need to have a deeper conversation with the person about to really get them directly headed in that direction. That's where the coaching comes in, the What to Know Before the Show. But that's,
so what's the Facebook page for the viewers?
Okay, so the Facebook page is What to Know Before the Show. Like your niche navigator, I love rhyming and alliteration, and that came to me. I was like, What to Know Before the Show? That is like, I had to pat myself on the back. When I came up with that, I was like, that is friggin' brilliant. Write that down, you know? And it's everything about what to know before you step on stage.
Yes.
And it's like, I just wrote, I shot a video a couple of weeks ago and wrote a post on What to Know Before the Show about what to do when you leave your house and you're in transit to your event, how to travel easier, lighter, quicker, get to the airport faster, but also what to eat, how to deal with jet lag, how to get pumped up just before you step on stage. So everything from leave the house to stepping on stage. And if you do these things, you'll have more energy when you get on stage. Your brain will be a lot clearer. You'll have your information down, and then you can use cheater tools in the room to help you be more on point with your script. So having a paper script in front of you on a little tiny thin music stand is a great way to just go through your content. And if you have any issues with, well, I shouldn't be reading off a script, or I shouldn't be using a script, I don't believe that in the first thing. I think, and if you think that your audience is going to have an issue with it, then you speak to it right at the beginning. You go, I do not want to miss one thing, and I have so much information for you. So is it okay if I refer to my script? And who's going to say no? You know, nobody ever says no. When I've worked with people and they've gotten on stage and said that, their audience is, oh, you have lots of information, you want to give that to me? Use whatever means you want. You know, or use a floor TV monitor with your script scrolling on it, where you don't have to have anything on stage. And you just go over the TV. You could have a bullet point where it's like, I tell the story about when I went to the Enlightenment Intensive and I was 6, and then I tell that story, And then I go into a data piece. The data piece is called this, and these are the points I want to cover. So you could do your script written out the way you want to say it, or you could just do a bullet point and have that scrolling on the front monitor. Lots of little easy things to do like that make you more present with your audience and create what I keep calling an intimate impact, where they're like, I get you. I get your expertise and I get your humanity. I get it. So I want to buy your product. I want to come to your next workshop, which is really what it's all about, is creating a business with this thing where people want to work with you further.
I love this. I have just received so much information and value. I'm going to look you up on Facebook too.
Okay.
And, you know, because I ultimately want to do a retreat, and I ultimately want to Italy and Greece. That's what, I don't know why, but I have to go to Greece. Do
you need an audio guy? I think you do.
I think I do. I need a whole planner person.
Oh. Well, let's talk.
Let's talk.
Okay. Yeah, because it's all there. It's all like, you know, it's just a system, and then you kind of figure out you always want to start planning no later than about 6 months out from when you want to put on your event, because there's a lot to do, and you need to secure a lot of stuff like gear and the event room, and if you're going to use a staff or volunteers to help you at the event, get the right AV guy, get an event supervisor to help you run the event. But I call that the production pod. And with a really good logistics master, where it's like the production notes are excellent and your script is written really, really tight, and then it's you on stage, it's your event supervisor, and your AV tech. The three of you can put on events anywhere in the world, anytime, and just be a unit. You can just travel to another country, and those two people know how to run your event, and they can run off the logistics master. They can train any staff and volunteers that you may want to bring in at the event. But then it's the same thing. You just show up and shine. You just go on stage, you do your thing, everything else take care of.
I love these interviews because I learned so much from the people. And I'm sure the audiences are going to love as well, because the thing is, nobody ever thinks of these things, right? And I love what you said, what to know before the show, right?
Yeah.
Because we all want to be the limelight on the show. What did you call it?
Show up and shine?
Yes, show up and shine. But the thing is that what happens in the background, and I've often wondered about it, and I know there's people who have their own teams and everything, but I never know that you have to create your own and find all these things. So you've just given me a lot of information that's really valuable.
Great.
Well, thank you so much, John. I really appreciate it. For those of you who are watching, please go ahead, like and subscribe, share this video, because you know what? You all need this. Whoever is out there want to be on the stage, you need a person like John Fraser from Nova Scotia, and we'll have his information there too, so you can connect with him. Thank you all, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.